r/ask Reddit. What do you consider to be a victimless crime? Downloading a movie, book, TV show, or video game that is no longer available from the original creators. Edit. Obligatory. Wow, this now is my highest rated comment. Edit. Also, thanks for the gold. Random person. I shall wear it proudly. Secondly, I'd like to clarify that when I say original creators I mean the writers, designers, editors, authors, artists, as well as producers, distributors, and manufacturers. Whoever owns the rights to whatever it is you're pirating. If you want to buy it, but they're not selling it anymore, oh well, piracy ahoy. Or downloading a NES Game Boy SNES game that I had when I was a kid that I've lost over the years. You already got my money. That and any MAME game that I put $50 worth of quarters in my life. Yep, I'm looking at you 4-player X-Men at the roller skating rink. Or also when you already own a copy of it legally. Murder. Because there is a victimless. Excuse me, I think you're needed over in r/dad jokes. Kid is watching TV. Suddenly a wild dad appears in the way. Hey dad, move your head. Dad moves head from side to side. Consensual homosexual sex. It's still illegal in many countries shockingly, though there was a hilarious incident in Aceh, the only Indonesian province to practice Sharia law, when 2 lesbians were caught living together. The Muslim judge ruled that even though homosexual acts like anal and oral sex are illegal, there's nothing against lesbian sex. The crowd was pissed. The judge challenged them to find anything in the Quran about lesbian sex, and they can't find any. All they could do was charge one of the women for dressing up like a man. Do lesbians not have oral sex? I guess they just like scissor or something. Edit. Damn it. Should have used my main account. Possession of marijuana, unless you consider Doritos as victims. I figured this comment would be here, but didn't expect the Doritos joke. A lot of good chips have died on these streets. RIP Taco Bell bathrooms. Watching porn before you turn 18. Edit. Hooray, my highest rated comment is about porn. My apologies, brethren. My dong was definitely a victim of me watching porn before I was 18. Sock. Swearing. Who decided these specific words are unable to be said? Duck that. Where do you live that makes swearing a crime? Edit. Okay, so apparently, it's illegal everywhere except on the internet. Today I learned. Somewhere with the FCC. Blowjobs, in Malaysia. It's illegal in Singapore too. Under all circumstances, how would that be remotely enforceable? I don't understand open container laws. If your passengers want to drink, why can't they? It's pretty much consent to a sobriety test if you get pulled over. But if you're sober, open bracket, or con someone else into driving, then there shouldn't be anything to worry about. Over the summer we went to a wedding and a bus picked up everyone from the hotel. Had a huge cooler filled with drinks and we got semi-bombed on the hour ride. But that was perfectly legal, I guess. Don't get it at all. You can't even be a pedestrian with an open container in some places. Some places it's illegal to walk home drunk. That is ducking oppression imo. Alcohol laws are rather extreme in many places. In most places, if you choose to leave a bar and sleep it off in your car, an officer can wake you up and charge you with a DUI. WTF. There are altering circumstances, like where the keys are, etc. But still. Also, if an officer really wants to be a dong, empty beer cans in the back of a pickup truck can be considered an open container charge, and could potentially lead to a DUI arrest as well. Screw the facts. Like the results of a breathalyzer, if the officer gives you a field sobriety test and judges you to be impaired, you're going to jail. Feeding an expired parking meter for someone. Where I live, you get a huge fine if caught. Edit. Well, this blew up. I live in Colombia, SC, a city where over 50% of taxable property is taken up by tax-free institutions, namely, the state government, USC and a church on every corner. The other problem is inadequate parking. I don't doubt the average USC student ends their education with a semester worth of books in parking fees. In fact, The redesign of Assembly Street has eliminated over 100 spaces while under construction and will permanently remove 50 plus after work is complete. It doesn't matter how you cut it, there aren't enough spaces downtown for businesses, government, USC faculty, and USC students. I primarily feed meters in the 5 Points area as I feel pretty good that those people are patronizing the retail and food outlets there, and shouldn't be fined for taking too long while shopping. Those meters are all relatively new. In the past 5 years, if the city would stop mismanaging the budget, they wouldn't need to wage a war against the merchants and shoppers. TL. Dr. City of Columbia couldn't budget an evening at the movies. Uses fees ticketing to plug the massive hole in the financial dike with a toothpick. Duck you for being a good person and maybe keeping money from the city in the process. Yep, have some arrest. Prostitution. All sex forces you to pay one way or another. Selling is legal. Ducking is legal. Why isn't selling ducking legal? George Carlin. Hunting is legal. People is legal. Why isn't hunting people legal? George Carlin. The problem that No Water Drop thinks they are responsible for the flood. Reddit is getting as deep as that flood at 7 AM. One man's trash is worth two in the bush. After reading the comments I suddenly understand why there are so many people in prison. I didn't know I couldn't do that, officer. That was good wasn't it? Because I did know I couldn't do that ha. Downloading PDF versions of my textbooks. McGraw-Hill is hardly even paying those authors anything. Thing is, McGraw-Hill seems to be actually putting an effort into their online ebooks. I can even read them on my phone, without downloading an app that requires a 7 inches minimum tablet. Pearson, on the other hand, can go duck themselves. My labs are terrible. This wasn't an online book requirement with any special programs or online assignments. I just needed the text and laptops are allowed in class. Side note, Pearson Math Lab can go to hell. I used to work with a guy who was a college dropout before he joined the Marines. Anyway, he was a criminal justice major and one of his professors told them a story about a victimless crime. A groundskeeper at a local cemetery had buried 3 people that day. Before he left he put down grass so that the graves didn't look naked and like piles of dirt. He arrives the next morning and one of the graves didn't have grass on it anymore. This confused the guy because he remembered putting it on all 3, and the other 2 were still covered. He checked the grave and he decided to call the cops just to be safe. The cops asked a couple questions and the deceased at that grave was a ward of the state and they didn't need to get permission to dig the grave up to investigate. They get the coffin out and it has been broken into. They open the grave. There's the woman's head and chest, and a set of legs. No lower torso. The cop, who was my friend's professor, asked the groundskeeper how long since the body was buried. It was buried the day before. How could someone dig up a body and bury it again all in one night without the use of a machine? Oh well, let's look around the graveyard a bit. There was a mausoleum being built in the front of the property and the cop and the groundskeeper go to take a look. They find a hole has been dug under the foundation. They climb in it and find you can crouch and walk around. They see numerous beer cans, garbage bags, condom wrappers, a woman's torso, wait, what the duck? They found the body's missing part. By law, because the deceased was a ward of the state and had no family, unlike the other 2 people buried that same day, it was considered a victimless crime. To this day the professor, retired cop, asks his student to keep their ears open at bars hoping to hear a story told by a drunk guy about how he dug up a body and buried most of it again in one night. The guy can't get in trouble. The cop just wants to know how the hell he did it. Edit. Sorry for formatting and spelling. I'm on my phone TL. Dr. Guy ducks dead body. Cops are clueless. Growing your own marijuana for your own personal use. Or growing marijuana and selling it to adults. Or buying someone else's marijuana. Or growing your own marijuana and selling it to somebody else. Or cooking meth and doing whatever the duck you want with it. Because you're an adult and that's what freedom is. Downloading a car. This guy did it. Jaywalking when there are clearly no cars going to hit you. I get the law when you're being reckless. But if I'm trying to cross on a one-way and there are clearly no cars coming and I'm an able-bodied person, there's no reason it should be a ticketable offense. Jaywalking is one of many laws that could be replaced by a blanket "don't be stupid." Since that law would never be enforceable, we have legislators choose to micromanage. Jaywalking doesn't exist as a law in England. We really do have a "don't be stupid" law. It's called the Green Cross Code, where there is a crossing nearby. Use it. Otherwise choose a place where you can clearly see in all directions. Blasphemy. But I'm so offended. Going through a red light late at night when nobody is coming for miles in either direction and you've been waiting for 10 minutes and goddamn damn it. Why won't you just turn green? You smug son of a beach. Driving while tired is just as bad as driving drunk. Edit. http://dsc. Discovery.com TV shows Mythbusters about this show tired versus drunk driving. HTM. Consensual polygamous or homosexual relationships. I never got why so many people who are for gay marriage and are against polygamous marriages. The same argument people use for the one can be applied to the other. As far as I am concerned, if you are an adult and are freely choosing to do it, you can marry whoever you want. The argument against polygamous marriage is that it tends to be abused. In Canada there have been a lot of problems with men with multiple wives collecting their version of welfare and passing all the checks up to the husband. In Utah they have problems with young boys being expelled from towns due to old dudes trying to get their hands on young women and not wanting the competition. The fact is, one man cannot typically care for 2 or more women and 2 families unless he is rich or they practice very responsible family planning. So the poly families end up living off the state. It also tends to lead to a lot of child abuse. Polygamous marriage seems nice for cute little swingers who live out west, but it is so prone to abuse that it should remain illegal. Downloading a digital version of a movie or album when you already purchased it on VHS or cassette. I would like the hard copies of my books to come with a free Kindle Nookie Reader download. Getting Lisa to help me win sports bets at Moe's. But Marge, it's a victimless crime. The only victim is Mo. Changing your IP address to get services offered only in the US. For example, getting Netflix US and Canada. It's technically illegal, but it's horseshit that someone a 2-hour drive away from me can get access to tons of incredible shows and movies that I don't have access to just because of the technicalities of who has the rights to them once you cross the border. Horseshit I tell ya. Edit. Maybe the changing of the IP address on its own isn't illegal qua there is a law in the books which is being broken. But it is definitely morally dubious and violates enough terms of legally binding contracts to give justified reason for someone to sue you if they really wish to press the matter. However, the crime itself is still victimless. I also did not anticipate this many people responding. What if you subscribe to a paid streaming service such as Netflix in the UK and use an IP adjuster to be able to stream the American version too? Yep, I do that. Hola and blocker. Mother ducker. Distilling liquor for personal consumption. If you don't do it right, you could quite possibly be a victim. Similar to doing your own electrical wiring or invasive surgery. Edit. I guess this debate comes down to freedom and if you consider it possible to be your own victim. Drug overdose, crashing your car, falling off a cliff or breaking a leg playing football all come to mind as personal freedoms which could result in injury or death to your person. However, if no one else is directly affected, is it even possible for there to be a victim? For the record, I consider it a right to duck yourself up even by accident. It is a basic tenet of freedom and therefore, unless by extension you are considering orphan dependents as victims, I would class distilling liquor for personal consumption a victimless crime, even if it results in poisoning. It's on par with not wearing your seatbelt or crash helmet, i.e. it really doesn't matter until something bad happens, but with due care and attention it is totally harmless. Edit 2. Seems that seatbelt thing is contentious as well. To put a fine point on it, I'd say it isn't not wearing a seatbelt that harms people. It's the crashing without it on which is the possibility of harming others. I still stand by that distinction. Blasphemy. Duck you Muhammad. Loitering? As long as it's not lollygagging. And don't even think about dilly-dallying. In law there are 2 major types of crimes. Mala in se, crime with a victim, and mala prohibita, victimless or consensual crime. Mala in se is against the law because it is evil and includes truly evil crimes such as kidnapping, murder, rape, etc. Mala prohibita is considered evil because it is against the law, therefore a crime. This includes drugs, gambling, or prostitution. In these crimes no one is hurt except the person doing the activity and consensual parties involved, and therefore no innocent victim, creating the idea of a victimless crime. In my country, Mexico, it is illegal to import garbage pail kids cards. Pirating shows that are not available to buy, even years after they hit their domestic market. Looking at you anime, or you Game of Thrones if I lived in the UK. Edit. Apparently GOT is available in UK. Apologies. Replace with Jamaica. And consider the time winner CEO's thoughts on piracy and why I wouldn't feel bad about torrenting the show if I didn't already have an HBO account. Cheers. The last time we went on a week-long vacation, our car, which had a zoned parking permit, was ticketed for being left in the same spot for more than 72 hours. You could make a case for car abandonment, property values, blight, etc. at 2 weeks or a month, but not at 3 days. Punching someone in the dock? Nudity in public. Some people may be offended, but that hardly makes them victims. A middle school teacher of mine said that seeing things that you find offensive is a good indication that you live in a free society. Flashing blind people. Collecting rainwater on your own property in Colorado. It's not victimless, in the case I think you're referencing, because, if I recall, he was intentionally preventing water from entering the town's reservoir and thus cutting off the town's water supply. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.